Hello, David Taub here from Next Level Guitar. Hope all is well and you're enjoying your guitar journey. I want to talk to you a little bit about playing in the modes, or using the modes of the major scale. And the mode that we're going to talk about today is the Dorian mode, one of my favorite modes. And it's if you're a rock player or a rock blues type player, alternative, you're really going to want to play in Dorian a lot. Now, there's a lot of confusion and myths out there about the modes of the major scale. You know, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixed Lydian, Aeolian, Locrian. Basically, just think about them as they're just variations of the major scale. That's all. And that if you know your major scales up and down the neck, you know all the modes. It's just starting a major scale on any other note in that scale but the root note or the parent note. So if you take a major scale like in G and you start it on the second note, that's A, and play it from the A and emphasize that A, you're playing an A Dorian, because Dorian is the second mode of the major scale. So any major scale you play, the second note is going to be the Dorian mode. Okay? And basically, if you shift to the root of the mode, if you play a G major scale, right, and you shift to that A note, it changes the intervals and now you have the Dorian mode. So it's no longer G major, even though you could think about it in terms of G major. So play all your G major scales. See, a lot of people are like, well, I know it's a major scales, but I don't know the modes. But you do. You see, you just don't know that you know them, right? Take your major scales and start using them in this way. You don't need to know 6 different or 7 different shapes for Dorian, 7 different shapes for Lydian. It's redundant. All you need to know is your major scale patterns, and if you don't know those, go to our website, nextlevelguitar.com, and we'll teach you those with a system of 6 and show you how to connect them together. Okay, that's critical. You really have to know your major scales for this to work. And then you can create all these different moods and textures and sounds by using the modes. And Dorian has a very kind of minor vibe that's very rock and hip, but it does combine elements of both minor and major, because, and I'll break it down, and you can see this on the screen that I'm flashing. Dorian mode has a 1, a major second or 2, flat third, 4th, 5th, 6th, and flat 7th. So it combines elements of, has all the notes in both minor and major pentatonic, and it combines elements of minor, has that real strong flat third and flat 7th, but it has those elements of major, a major second and a major 6th. So anytime you know that you can use both minor pentatonic and major pentatonic, then you know Dorian will work. And I use that a lot, like in blues playing over 1, 4, 5 chords, major keys, any blues, swing, or shuffle, where pretty much you can use minor pentatonic to get the minor type bluesy sound, major pentatonic get that sweet kind of B.B. King sound, and then if you want to combine them, just use the Dorian mode. And think about that, like if you have a jam in the key of, you know, like a whatever, any kind of blues shuffle, like A, D, you know, the 1, 4, 5 kind of thing that we've all heard a million times. Those are considered major chords, right? A, 1, 4, 5, I was using the A chord, the D chord, and the E chord. Any kind of swing or shuffle where it goes up, where you hear that 1, 4, 1, 4, 5 change, major chords, is a great time where swing, shuffle, blues, where you could use the Dorian mode and it's going to work. You could use minor pentatonic, you could also use major pentatonic, and you could use the Dorian. So in that particular example, I would play A Dorian. So the way you want to think about it is, if I want to play A Dorian, Dorian is the second mode of any major key. What major scale's second note is an A? And the answer is G. If you take a G major scale, 1, 2, G, A. Second note is an A. So if I take my G major scale, see how that sounds major? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And just start it on the A and play from the A to the A. That doesn't sound major anymore. That sounds more minor to me. And in a minute I'm going to jam over a jam track where I'm just going to play 4 basic chords, a real rock kind of vibe. And when I play over it, you're going to be like, that doesn't sound very major. But really I'm playing D major scales, because the jam is going to be in E to G to D to A in the key of E. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an E Dorian. So you have to say, well, if I want to play an E Dorian, what major scales do I play? Well, what second, because Dorian is the second mode, what major scale second note is an E? The answer, D. D major scale, second note is an E. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. D major. So I'm going to emphasize, so you got to kind of convert back figure out, first of all, that Dorian mode will work, because it's not going to work all the time, and if you want to know exactly when and where you can use it, go to our website, we'll teach you that. Figure out, by analyzing the chords, which mode you can use, then convert it back to the mother major key, okay? And shift to the root of the mode, and in this instance is E. See, if I play all the scales and I emphasize the D note, it's going to sound major, and I don't want that. I want it to sound more minor, more rock, more Dorian. So another great use for Dorian is in a minor key progression. Any minor key, pretty much most minor key progressions, you could usually blast either Dorian mode or Aeolian mode over all the chords. Now eventually you want to be able to play over the chords individually, but if you're first getting used to modal playing, play over all the chords. And in a minor key jam, of course, any minor key, you can always use minor pentatonic. If the song's in G minor, you can play G minor pentatonic. If it's an A minor pentatonic. But you want to add to that. You just don't want to be playing pentatonics all the time. You want to add more notes, give it more flavor. And in this example I'm going to play, I'm going to use minor pentatonic and mix in Dorian and mix in the blue note. So if you have a minor key jam, and you have a major chord in that jam, the 4 chord is major, and a lot of minor key jams go to a 4 major, then is a great instance where you could play Dorian over all the chords. Okay, now you could still play over the chords individually with different modes, but if you just want to practice Dorian, play a minor key jam where it goes from a 1 major to a 1 minor to minor key to a 4 major, like whatever, A minor 7 to a D major. Lay that down. So you got to analyze the chords. I'm playing an A minor chord. I'm in the key of A minor, but I'm going to the 4 chord in the key of A is D. I'm going to a 4 major. Whenever I see a minor chord progression that has a 4 major chord in it, I know Dorian pretty much will work over all the chords. So I'd play again A Dorian over that, which is the same as G major. All my G major scales up and down the neck focus on the A note, which would make it Dorian. Remember, when you're soloing, you basically have 2 options. You could either solo over all the chords, and that's called what relates to all. You're playing the same mode or the same scales over every chord no matter what change. Okay? And that's one option. Your other option is you can play individually over each chord. What I call treating each chord like a separate event. That's more what I like to do. I like to analyze the chords and to play over each one independently. Now for this example, the chords are moving pretty quickly, so we're just going to solo over all of them. And I want you to hear how you can blast a mode over all the chords, and as long as you're shifting to that root of the mode, you're going to be in there. And I think you're going to be pretty amazed how this can take your playing to the next level.